You are now watching Soca Vibes Sports Podcast. Ready to get it done. She got the wine down to the yard far. So cock it up and put your head by your knee.
What's going on, family? Welcome to episode 3 of Soca Vibes in Sports. I'm your host, Mello, and I'm here with my two phenomenal co-hosts, JP to my left, and to my bottom, we have AKA Jordan, AKA Starboy. Yeah, boys, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Just taking it one day at a time.
Exactly, one day at a time.
One day at a time, man. What could we say, man? You know, we're already past the first week of February. We're currently in the second week of February. Just want to, just check in on your boys, on your mentals. How has February been treating you guys so far?
So far, I feel like there's been roller coasters, ups and downs, turns of all sorts. But, I'm hanging in there, I try not to let life, get me too high or too low.
Respect. Okay. Starboy, talk to us, man.
Got the highs, the lows, Valentine's Day coming up, Super Bowl. Yeah, so trying to get everything situated, man.
Hey, man, a lot of series of events happening. It's coming soon. We have the Super Bowl tomorrow. Starboy, you mentioned Valentine's Day coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, as each year, we're currently in the second month of February. A lot of folks, like ourselves, we always set out goals. I just want to say, man, in terms since we're already in the 8th of February, have you guys been sticking to your goals, or have you guys have a change of heart so far?
Well, so far, I feel like I've been sticking to my goals as far as my exercise regimen and how I've been kind of eating a little bit, but it was never like a New Year's resolution. It's just something that I try to maintain rather than feeling like I'm just going to go all gas, no brakes, and then flame out at the end. I'm just trying to kind of use it as just like a moment by moment, day by day thing.
Okay. That's awesome, man. I definitely, wishing you well. Just continue, to push through no matter what, no matter how tough, times may get. Always see like the end of the light of things. Always see the end of the light, if that makes sense. But, JP, bring us in, man.
I'd like to discuss our sounds of the week.
Sounds of the week.
Personally, I've been listening to a lot of what's his name? I'm having right now. What is his name?
Starboy.
Okay, for me, I'm going Sean Paul Dance Hall. That's how it is. Hey, listen, Sean Paul, from growing up to now, I believe Sean Paul really he transformed dance hall, but people don't give him his credit that he deserved.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely agree with you.
Mr. Easy is his name.
Mr. Easiest.
Mr. Easy.
Oh, Mr. Easy. Okay.
Mr. Easy.
What's the name of the song?
Pour Me Water by Mr. Easy. It's like a go-to song whenever I'm just trying to feel a sense of comfort.
Okay.
I think it's just like an easygoing beat per se. But yeah, what about you?
For me, I'm a big soca lover, man. And there's one particular artist that comes to mind every time when his name pop up on my YouTube feed. Kes, Kes the band, but he goes by Kes. He just released a new song 4 days ago called Last Drum. I love the rhythm behind it. One thing about Kes, every time when he release a different rhythm, it's always bangers on bangers, man.
He gonna set the tone.
Oh, yeah. Always, and he never disappoints.
Okay, so my next topic for you guys is Who's somebody you'd model your lifestyle after, and why?
Hmm. You want to take a job at it, JP?
Yeah, so for me, I would say, for myself, it's mainly God. But if I had to choose like a being on earth, I'd say mainly Andre 3000. I like the way he carries himself. I like the way he goes about his everyday living, as if he's just a part of this world. He's not in this world. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
his energy is always kind of like, radiating wherever he goes, and he keeps things very simplistic. And that's the way I aspire to live. Like where I kind of like, I am my own light wherever I go, but at the same time, I want to live like a minimalist and live simplistic, you know what I'm saying, to the point where I'm not, overwhelmed or infatuated with all these things we have around us, but just kind of grounded to where I feel, more comfortable in the space that I'm in and making others feel comfortable in the space that they're in.
Okay. Starboy.
For me, it's got to be Kevin Hart. When you think about like everything he's just done, like you got to think about it. He started off as a comedian. Okay, he's a comedian, but he transferred over, get into the fitness lifestyle, get into the healthy lifestyle. Now he's like a global known person. Like it's just for me, the way that life is transitioning for me to being into fitness, into networking, all those things. Like he's just somebody that I will model my lifestyle after because no matter what no matter what you say about him, he's gonna work hard. So that's just who I see myself as. Like somebody that works hard, willing to do whatever, like I'm gonna work hard to get to my goals. So that's Kevin Hart. Shout out to him.
Okay. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all both for sharing that. I'm sorry, I just had a whole brain for myself because I'm trying to think about this question. Someone, I'm gonna do a two-part answer to this. The first one, I'm gonna go with my uncle from my dad's side. I felt like, in terms from a cultural standpoint, we understand each other. You get what I mean? And even though that he was born in the States, I felt like there's a lot of similarities we share in terms of how to go about our American culture, the society of it as well. And in terms, he didn't let things define him. You get what I mean? Even though, like I say, Creole was not his first language, he really took his time out and learned the language, learned the culture. And I like the fact that he calls things for what it is. There's no BS. In terms, how to say, in the Haitian culture, we were taught, hey, always respect our parents, this, that, the third, or whatnot. But for him, it's like, hey, especially your parents could be wrong too, and it's like, hey, I call things for what it is. I don't care if if we're the same age or younger or older, it doesn't matter. Wrong is wrong and right is right. So I like the fact, like, he always just say, number one, be yourself. Number two, do what's best for your family. And number three, excuse my language, but fuck what they got to think about you. And the part two to my answer to this, Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks. When he first got drafted, man, think about it. His situation, he didn't come from nothing. You get what I mean? His family left Africa to go to Greece and, just to make a better living. And what I like about Giannis a lot, and this is just from my opinion, I like his work ethic. You get what I mean? Like, he always finds ways to better his game, better his craft, and he does not like to be complacent whatsoever. So that's somebody that that sometimes I look up to kind of model my lifestyle, to find ways to be better, do better, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, I like that one. Okay, so our next topic would be: should parents be more aware of autism?
Woo.
Man.
Starboy, bring us in, man. Bring us in.
So yes, parents should be well more aware of autism as a recreational therapist and also as a program coordinator that works with individuals with special needs. Like, this is a big thing, and now in this generation, kids are being more born with special needs at an all-time high now. So as far as we're with autism, we have different signs of autism. Some children may be very high functioning to the point where they could be in a regular setting, have a regular life, as far as in like you couldn't tell unless you see some signs. And then you have instances where they have autism and they have a second diagnosis or a second underlying syndrome. So it's just different in terms of, like, for example, if you see like there's different signs where kids are covering their ears or walking on their tippy toes, you have certain signs that show your kid may be autistic. If those signs are going on, like loud sounds or bells or whistles or stuff like that, you should go definitely get the child tested if they're, see if they're on the spectrum. At the end of the day, even if your child has autism or not, they're still children. At the end of the day, they're children. There's nothing wrong with them. Don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. They're still full of life. The best thing to do is, like, don't pretend you know anything, like everything. Seek advice, reach out, do research, because individuals, especially their diet is not the same as general population kid, which is GP population, but it's just in terms of, like, they can all do the same thing. Like, working with them, I see kids with autism or other underlying illnesses where they're very athletic. They're very, like, it's not something that's going to stop them from doing whatever they want to do.
Okay. To piggyback on that, I think we as adults, we shouldn't be afraid of the unknown. And sometimes I think individuals feel as if, like, if I don't know this, I should have to, like, kind of like make something in my head, or like just kind of come off my own conclusion, or raise the individual child, like the child how I might have been raised. But everybody needs their own blueprint. So that would be my thought on being aware of autism and parents, dealing with, like, kids who may have autism. I think it's one of those things where you definitely show the kid more love as well as, like, compassion, and kind of like meet the kid where they're at. You know what I'm saying? Trying to say, oh, well, my last kid did this, or basing it off of what Sherry or Susan's kid is about what your kid might be.
Okay. Hey, man, I felt like both of you guys provided some valid, definitely not some, but all like valid points to this when it comes to autism. And as adults, we definitely got to be more vigilant, and because signs be there, and sometimes we pretty much could be naive to the situation. And I'm holding myself accountable. You get what I mean? I have a son. He's currently on the spectrum right now. But for me, it's feel like the thing that he's going through right now, I semi-remember going through those moments like him. And for me, I just grew out of it. You get what I mean? I have my own trials and errors, but I was never, what's the word I'm trying to say? I was never diagnosed, or I never went to a IEP, or like a IEP was never done on me. So it's like, it was one of those situations where I just grew out of it. But in the situation, if I were to get those help back in the days, I don't know, probably things would have been different, probably in a good way or a bad way. But as of right now, it's good to kind of seek it now, as opposed, like, there's a saying, it's always good to be safe than sorry. So always, like, see the signs early on, and, give them the proper help, provide them the proper resources that they need in order to excel. You know what I mean? And, don't let these moments define you, nor the child too. You know what I mean? It's just an opportunity just to improve in their skill sets, or has to improve of them in their behavior or stuff. So that's how I see it.
Okay, I like that. So now we're gonna kind of transition from a serious topic to a more lighthearted topic, and this is one that kind of hit us overnight, because every time we get off stream or something, it seems like somebody's being traded, or something was happening, and our fault, because I feel like since we're an up and coming channel, these trade deadlines kind of was hitting us at sporadic moments, so we couldn't always reach our viewers at that time. But hey, now we're here to talk about it. I have one listener who said, I can't wait till y'all talk about the trades. And I was like, me either, because they just was popping up at us out of nowhere. And some I'm happy about, some I'm not happy about. So here we are. Jimmy Butler to Golden State, as well as Luka and AD trade.
Well, I definitely want to take a jab at this first. Um, even though my hot take was Jimmy Butler will be a Phoenix Sun, unfortunately that did not happen. As you can tell, Jimmy Butler got traded to the Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and a first round pick. Okay. How I see this move, I felt like it's a mutual move for both parties, for both Jimmy and for both the Miami Heat. I'm glad that Jimmy's going to a situation where he can play with a superstar now, quote unquote. Even though like they're both about the same age, aging. Um, I'm just glad that he's in a better situation. I hope that he goes out and set out his goals to win a championship out there, and and just be Jimmy Butler, man. Just be Jimmy Butler.
Right. So I'll comment second. I feel as if Jimmy Butler in this trade that happened, I feel like it happened all in the right time, and I feel like it was a very fair trade, and I feel like the Miami Heat, we received great compensation back, and I feel like sometimes we as fans are quick to react and want to just give away or trade somebody, but I think you have to receive the same amount of compensation that you were about to lose for an individual. So I think Pat Riley did his big one on this one. We have two good wing defenders. That's something that we were lacking, and I can't wait to see them in the starting lineup.
I'm gonna take a different approach. I actually don't like this trade.
Okay.
Don't like it one bit. Now I'm happy that Jimmy's in a better situation. I was all team Jimmy pre-Jimmy. I'm happy he's in a better situation than Golden State. He could get his trade back. But for Golden State, this trade doesn't make sense. When you guys think about it, like, okay, you trade 3 players for, Scooter was also offered. I think he went to Utah. When you think about this, it's like, okay, for Golden State, what position doesn't equip you? You're in the 11th spot in the West. This doesn't make you any better. Steph is aging, Jimmy is aging. So it's like, okay, it's harder for Steph to do stuff now because he's not the same player he was when he was younger, obviously. And then now you add him on a team with him, Steph, Draymond. Like, the team doesn't have any shooters. Like, Jimmy Butler is not a shooter. He's a scorer, and he's a glue guy. He will do whatever it takes to win. He's same as Draymond. But I just don't see how this trade works. Like, when you just think about it, like, it helps Jimmy at most, and they just gave him a 2-year, $121 mil, $121 a year deal. So they gave him basically, you're ruining your future because, I just don't see them winning a championship. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I can see where you're coming from, especially you looking at all these different factors.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently 11 in the West.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of pretty much sacrifice their future.
Yep.
But realistically, I really don't know what's the Warriors' identity right now in terms of the future. You get what I mean? So I just felt like this was like, hey, man, fuck it, let's go all in and let's just try to win a championship. Like, I don't see them like nowhere near trying to rebuild or trying to rescript.
I don't know what process they're in right now. That's why it's so hard. Like, this team don't have an identity right now, and then at the same time, it's like, it's always going to be Steph's team for as long as he's there, but Steph wants to win, and bringing Jimmy's one player. Like, he's going to help them get better. He's going to help them win games they should have won, but it doesn't make them championship contenders in my book.
Okay. Well, I think as far as the Warriors are concerned, I do agree with you on that standpoint. I think it was still a fair trade, but I think as far as the Warriors are concerned, I don't know if Jimmy is that big of a needle mover to give him $121 million. And that's why I feel like, in my case, I feel like we won the trade because we get 2 guys, well, actually 3 guys that can compensate for one, but at the same time, they're not disgruntled and they're willing to play defense.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the Warriors, it's kind of like, I feel like they've been in like a dumpster fire type, like sell and give away, but also try to add pieces. They got a good young core, but at the same time, they gave away one of the Splash Brothers. So it's like, that was their identity, 3 and D and spacing. So to take that away, it's just kind of like, it's kind of like what's going on, and I just kind of got an ESPN update. Okay, I thought it was more breaking news. I see, I'm traumatized at this point because you don't know when a big move is going to happen. Even though the trade deadline ended, we don't know what's next to come. So what I will say is, at that point when we were talking about is the NBA ratings going down, it just so happened that they were making big moves behind the scenes, and they kind of told us all to shut the hell up and see what happens until then.
You know what's so crazy? Talking about the ratings, right? We were just talking about the ratings, how like the ratings is not where the ratings is not where it's at right now because of X, Y, and Z. Bro, I kid you not. I've learned more about what's been going on in the NBA that I totally forgot that the Super Bowl was happening this week. You got what I mean? And I just want to say, Shams, if you're watching this, man, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. I appreciate all the updates, but make sure that you add some more details when explaining those trades. But
And
hey,
Woj too. But what didn't
Rose,
Woj retire?
Yeah, Rose retired, man.
I remember Woj used to have my phone going crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Now, I said, talking about the trades, right, gentlemen? I want to ask you guys, what were some surprise trades for you, and what were some disappointment trades? Starting with the surprising, of course.
I would say a surprise trade for me was the De'Aaron Fox move. I knew it was happening, but it's just, I don't know. A part of me just really, really wanted to see a nice young guard come to the Heat, but I wasn't too concerned about how he'd fit in right away. But I don't discredit the fact that San Antonio is a better fit for him. And one of my trades that I didn't really care too much for was Brandon Ingram trade to Toronto. I was
you don't see the purpose of it.
No.
Exactly.
For me, the trade that surprised me was with Atlanta when Atlanta got rid of DeAndre Hunter and Bogey. I'm like, dang, you get rid of best of your role players. Even though for Bogey's case, who did they get in return? If I'm not mistaken, they got Terrence Mann and Bone Harlan. With Bone Harlan, they got rid of him. Like they waived him yesterday, which was wild to me. Terrence Mann, I haven't heard nor seen of Terrence Mann I say all season long. So I'm surprised to see how he's going to fit with them. With DeAndre Hunter, he got traded to the Cavaliers for Karis LeVert and I don't know how to pronounce the other guy's name properly. Niang, yeah, him. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, but I just felt like the Hawks were, was a bit surprising. I'm not surprised with the Wizards at all. I mean, not the Wizards, the Bucks. Not surprised that the Bucks got rid of Middleton. It was just a matter of time. You pretty much get what I mean. Middleton is not the same guy that we saw years ago. You could tell he's struggling. He's struggling to shoot the ball. He went from a starter to now a bench player. Surprised to see what he's going to do in Washington. I read a report saying that he's there in Washington to be a mentor, but I highly doubt he probably might want to do that right now. That's just my opinion on it.
He might try to buy out his contract.
Possibly.
That's where players go to die. That's when they send you to Washington. Your career is headed to an end.
Yep.
But to transition, I'm just curious to know, because even though we're all really close, I want to know what is you guys' favorite meal that you could eat for the rest of your life?
Does it have side effects? Are we talking with side effects no?
Nah, no side effect. We're gonna say no side effect.
It keep you the same amount of weight, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going with pizza, man. Hey, the one thing, listen, pizza is a vice grip for me, man. Okay. I don't eat it often now, but Like when a year ago when I was unhealthy, man, I could eat pizza every day and have no problem in eating pizza.
For,
Like
for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, huh?
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man. Because it's like, bro, if you got a box of pizza, bro, that's your breakfast, lunch, and dinner right there. You got 8 slices.
Two,
Cut that
two,
up. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? 2 in the morning, 2 for lunch,
and
2 at
3 at
night.
night.
Good.
Yeah,
And you still got 2 for the next day.
Okay, and you can?
me. Ooh, something I could eat for the rest of my life. Respectfully, Chipotle. I
Man,
don't know, man. It just is it's something about that Chipotle bowl. You know, that brown rice. You know, my proteins, and you know the tomatoes, the sour cream, the lettuce, the cheese. Hey, man, I could eat that forever and ever. Just
Chipotle.
unfortunately, you know, Chipotle is not budget friendly anymore. Okay,
Mm-mm. They'll
not
put you in
budget
the
friendly.
room.
Hey, nothing's budget friendly anymore, man.
So for me, I was thinking more like on the Caribbean side. I like not like I love Dijon on rice
Ooh,
or
Right.
English speakers
Fire.
mushroom rice.
no,
But I like mine with a little pickles on the top and maybe some fried fish on the side.
okay.
I'm saying that I could eat for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I think that's sustainable and bun as well. Like that, just that whole core, that'd be like a all year round thing if I could.
No,
What
I
type of
said, yeah, I was about to ask that. I was about to say, what
yeah,
type of
exactly.
bun?
I like the unsweet plantains.
Nah.
But I like the sweet ones too. And for our Spanish speakers, I think y'all call them tostones.
It's the
Yep.
stoners.
Yeah.
Tostones. So yeah, that would just be me as far as like all day. The fish is versatile. You could cook the fish however you want, what type of fish you want to cook it.
Right.
You know, you could cook it any type of way, grilled, fried,
All that.
boiled. So it's just one of those versatile meals. You can really turn that thing up and then you can dress it down. Sometimes you can have fish with the sauce, you know what I'm saying? So that'll be me. But to transition, someone fit for you. Now, this topic we was having a little bit off air, and
Yeah.
you guys were getting a little passionate about this, and which I really respect and love. And I feel like this is one of those topics that really can, take us miles and miles and miles, So
In other
when
words,
we
what
talk about
JP trying to say, this is like a make it or break it type of situation. Okay.
Yep.
right, so we're gonna start with you, Starboy.
Uh,
How do you know when somebody's fit for you, or what makes you feel as if somebody is fit for you?
when you find somebody that's fit for you, you got to see where your life is at. So that's how that's where you start off at. If, for example, like for me right now, I'm big into fitness, working out, eating healthy, eating right. So I've been doing that for over a year. So just finding somebody that's in that same, like finding a woman that's in that same category, also about elevating. I'm also about, doing everything I can to this make myself a successful businessman. So those terms, when you find somebody fit for you, you just have to find somebody also they have to have the passion about, God. It's just like, it's not always easy because finding someone that's exactly for you is not like it's not going to just come overnight. I think that's the biggest process that you have to know that, okay, even when you are in a relationship, like you have to figure out, okay, is this person fit for me? Where do I see this relationship going? Is it going in a direction where it's sustainable for me and myself, or this may not be sustainable for me? So I'm just like, you know, figuring out life, letting life come to me, um, trying to grow trying to grow and be a better person every day. So you have to see what a person. Obviously, you don't want a person the same person as you. You don't want that. But you want somebody that has similar goals, like that's willing to push you. Like, okay, this person is doing this. Let me try to push him to do that. Like, help him be a better person, help her be a better person. So I just see that's how, somebody that's fit for you is just helping you, somebody that's being better. They have similar interests, but not the same exact interests.
Okay, I'll say for me, I would want somebody who's willing to challenge me in areas that I might need to be challenged in, but also hold me accountable as well as me holding them accountable with real clashings of heads. Somebody who has emotional intelligence. What I'm saying? Somebody who kind of like can meet me halfway, and that's not even speaking like financially or anything. Just like mentally meet me halfway.
Okay.
You Mellow?
Me, what do I look for? Just making sure that your mission and your vision aligns to what the other person has. If the mission and vision is not there, then I don't feel like it's going to work. Also too, find someone that's within your standards. I feel like, as a society, we tend to kind of go outside our standards, and we go after, even though my wife my wife hates when I say that word, but go after a baddie, and my definition of a baddie, I'm talking about the ones that, expensive everything, expensive lifestyle. Like, they could be a headache, they could, run you dry, how to say it, any little thing that you do, she will quickly cut you off. So I just felt like, just find someone that's within your standards. You get what I mean? And that ultimately brings you peace. I feel like, we tend to look for headaches, and that's why people become crash outs, bro. And we can't afford to have that anymore.
Right.
And just making sure that the mission vision aligns, and number two, making sure that, like you said, JP, making sure to find someone that challenges you, that helps you, hold you accountable, but at the same time too, you hold them accountable, for their actions as well. And just see where how to say where things go from there. Just feel like, just make sure that I'm learning things, from the hard way. I'm not gonna lie to you. And no, I don't mean no ill will behind it, but just feel like, through trials and errors, man. Like, you just don't know no better. You get what I mean? You're like, oh shit, I was not supposed to do that, or I felt like, I could have handled, this situation differently. But all in all, you just gotta make sure that it makes sense. It has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then you're just gonna drive yourself crazy for no reason.
Right. And to add on to that, if it don't make a dollar, it don't make sense. And I
Exactly.
will say this. Um, I'm curious to know, and like the female perspective of that. And to spoil the news, guys, we will be having a couple guest speakers on, and we are gonna have more female opinion, what I'm saying, on some of these matters. Because somebody made an interesting point to me in my inbox, and they said, how are y'all speaking on females if there's no female? And my response was, listen to the episode. You know what I'm saying? Because we did have a female intervene in the conversation, which was perfectly fine with me, because that was an extra opinion, and that was an opinion that was needed. You know what I'm saying? Because some of you guys were ready to throw our boy Mello off the ledge.
Yeah,
And
You
that
guys were
was.
ready to hinge me. You guys were
yeah,
ready to hinge me for no reason.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
even though I specifically said, "Hey, I'm coming from a place of love, but it's just my take on it." Okay,
Right,
you
right.
know?
That's another thing that I'd add to having a fit for me. Somebody who kind of like can see the perspective on both sides of the coin,
Right.
rather than just like taking a strong stance and not really willing to budge. It has to be some type of like
Mutual? Would you say?
mutual understanding. Like if, let's say, like Starboy like pizza, I like different type of food or whatever. Me and Starboy are not gonna want to fight about it. You know what I'm saying? It's his opinion. That's what he like. We got two different palates. You know what I'm saying? So how can we argue about something that's so subjective? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So
Now, I want to ask both of you guys like a third party question, right?
Okay,
mhm.
okay.
So, and like I said, you've seen things from a third party, okay? Not saying that you are them or you will be them, but in terms for females, what do you think females look for? You know, as a how to say it, as a ideal fit for them.
Mm.
In how to say in our generation.
Whew, well, I can't speak for all of them,
Right.
and that's my disclaimer. But majority of them, I feel like, are materialistic as well as like egotistic. And I don't see a lot of selflessness anymore with females, but I do think like gender roles have switched in a sense where like there are a lot of men who do like female things or have
Tendency.
female tendencies.
Right.
And a part of that, sometimes females will say that is because a lot of the men are not raising their kids, you know what I'm saying? So they won't make like mainly raised by a female.
Right.
So, you
Yeah.
know, if your mom's taking you to the nail salon every weekend, you know what I'm saying, and that's what you're comfortable with, that's all you know, and you hear back and forth banter between women, and you're not in the barber shop enough to hear you
Your
know,
diet.
back and forth banter amongst men,
Mhm.
your opinion based way based off of your environment. So that's just my take on that. I think females kind of like, not all of them,
Right. Not all.
space where,
Listen, females. Disclaimer. Not all. Yes,
yeah,
JP, can continue on.
yeah, they live in this space where it's kind of like, what are you doing for me now? Why are we going out on a lot of dates? You know what I'm saying? Like everything has to be like front and center for the world to see. You know what I'm saying? Because females are more expressive. I feel like they want to announce their love to the world, which
Oh yeah.
there's no problem with that. But I think everything should be done within moderation.
Hell yeah.
And how I feel is like, just to piggyback off what JP said, because of this, like a lot of the switching where, especially now, more women act masculine in terms of like they don't have masculine energy, but they're doing things for themselves. They're, getting in their bag, they working hard, they're doing 2, 3 jobs, and then you have guys trying to be more feminine instead of being more masculine. And it's also, based upon what you grew up under. Like, if that's all you know, then that's all you know. Can't fault somebody for what they know. You get what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
and just in terms of that, my thing is that with women, they're doing the best that they can. We doing the best that we can. Um, like I said, women, you guys are amazing. Um, we're not taking anything away from a woman. At the same time, like, you know, it's just like with this generation of women, like not all of them, because I've met some down to earth women. Not all women are the same. It depends on what they were raised under in terms of like, okay, you may have some girls that are falling for trends. You have girls that fall for a trend. You have some girls that are believing a hardworking man. You have some girls that believe in they're only dating rich guys. So it's just, not all girls are the same, as a guy. And, sometimes we fall under that aspect of where we think like, all girls are the same. Now, have I got, ran into girls that were materialistic? Yes, I have, and at the end of the day, you have to identify that. Like, for example, like, and we were having a conversation earlier. Like, if you know somebody is not in your standards, in terms of knowing that if you're just checking, social media page or how you know them personally, and you see that they live an expensive lifestyle, and you don't have that lifestyle, don't try to get with that person and then blame that person for what you just did, because you can't blame a girl for already knowing her lifestyle and then say, okay, it's her fault when you already knew how she was living or how she was. So sometimes it's like, even as men, sometimes you got to take accountability. Like, if you know, like, for example, same thing with women, flip over. If you know that he's a cheater and you get with him and you already knew he was a cheater, you can't get mad at him for cheating on you. You can't change nobody. You
My
can't
goodness.
change nobody. So it's like, if somebody's not willing to change their version of themselves, then it's not gonna work. So that's just my take on it.
You heard it first from Starboy, y'all. So my question to you, Starboy, would be do you feel like women are kind of influenced as well by some of the music they listen to?
Yes and no.
Ooh.
They're influenced by the music they're listening to, but it's also in terms of like, for example, if a girl has a dominant man, like in terms of like, for example, where she knows that he's like the head of the household, and like they have, good conversations, like a healthy relationship, then she'll be submissive. But you run into the situation sometimes where, let's say a girl doesn't know how to treat a man how like a man, then you run into, where it's, I'm out here in Miami. You know what I'm
I'm in
saying?
Miami, babe.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, it depends. Like, it all depends on what type of woman you're talking to. Like, you have to see and analyze, okay, can she have a healthy conversation? How is this conversation going? Can she, like, you know, can does she like me for just for the money? Or is she after me just only for the money? Like, it influences girls at a certain point, but it's like, those type of lifestyles aren't realistic. And like I said, it's a lot of guys allowing themselves for girls to trick them. And when they get tricked, it's not the girl's fault. Like, if you just sending the girl money constantly, what's she gonna do?
That's for more
Do
money.
nothing. Like, unless you stop the habit, it's not gonna stop. So, sometimes I don't blame these women because, even though we are men, I'm not gonna lie, from what
It
I've
happens.
seen or heard, like, guys will pay for stuff that's like, yo, why would you pay for that? Like for feet pictures, you paying for somebody's feet?
Yeah, that's
Bro,
beyond.
that's crazy. Like,
You know, I could send my toes if y'all want me to. Not saying they gonna be cute or nothing, but hey, you know
I'm
what I'm
just
saying.
saying.
You get into that bag a different type of way. But
And
just
also, and I said, also too, gentlemen, and I came up with this theory not too long ago, by the way. I look at if they come from a two-parent household. That will let me know exactly what type of individual that you're dealing with. And there's no shade behind it whatsoever. Because at the end of the day, we all human. We all make mistakes. We all fall into habits that just, hey, it just happened. You get what I mean? But I primarily look if there was a father in their life. Okay, and don't get me wrong. Now you have some fathers, they spoil the hell out their girl. You get what I mean? They spoil
Mhm.
the hell out their daughters, and there's nothing wrong with that. You get what I mean? That's why some girls, they be coming in. They be coming in with these high expectations. Like, listen, my daddy did this for me. My daddy did that for me. This, that, the third. But let's just say if the father was not present, and and just a disclaimer, ladies, I'm not trying to hinge nobody, not trying to, not trying to throw shots at nobody. But all in all, what I'm trying to say is I felt like if there was a father present in your life, I felt like it would have been a whole different outcome. You get what I mean? And I'm not gonna sit here and blame you guys because your father is not in some of your life because of X, Y, and Z. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you could tell when you come from a two-parent household. I'm not saying things gonna be perfect per se. It's not gonna be perfect, but there's
Mhm.
gonna be some type of stability and some type of r- r- reasonable standards.
Mhm.
Okay, that's just my take on it. I may be tripping because some may say, "Hey, I came from a two-parent household, but
right.
yet my dad was a piece of crap or my mom was a piece of crap." You get what I mean?
Yeah, because I was gonna
But
say there's some
Yeah.
thotty waddies and people who do wild stuff, even with two parents. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
like, I don't think it's necessarily coming from a two-parent household. What I see it as is, like, for example, like, I've known people that come from a two-parent household, and I feel like what a two-parent household give you is not the same as a single household. You may have
Ooh,
a two-parent household where it's great. At least the parents, the mom and dad, put on for the kids in terms of, even if they may not be agreeing with each other, they never show the kids an argument or like those type of things. But you have also instances where, like, let's take for example, in a two-parent household, if you have a child and all they see is their mom slaving 24/7, their mom is doing everything while their dad is doing nothing, and he's literally just like reaping off the benefits. Like, my biggest thing is like, and whenever I do get married in the future, yes, okay, would I like my wife to cook? Yes, I would like her to cook, but she doesn't have to do it every day. There's no such thing as she has to cook for me every day. There's no such thing as when I get home there should be a meal prepared, because at the
You don't
day
want
we're
to.
human beings. Like, you got to set an expectation. Like, why can I come home and when she get home, dinner could be ready for her? So it's just in terms of, like, when you come into like, when you have two parents, sometimes you may get accustomed to that lifestyle. That's not realistic. Like, you may, okay, turn into a different person, or may only look for a person that you see in your dad. And if your dad, like, if a person's dad was a deadbeat, they may see only that and may only want that. Like, sometimes some women think they can fix a problem, and sometimes you can't.
That's true, and that's an amazing that's amazing that you caught on to that. But now to transition, I got this next one right here. It's just to throw y'all off a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just curious on y'all opinion because we've all grown up watching this network, right? And the thing about this network is had amazing stars come off of this network. It's had like, amazing events and awards hosted about this network. So I'm just curious to know what happened to BET.
Woo! Wow.
Do y'all feel like BET is still the same, or do y'all feel like it's missing something?
It
Like
changed.
what happened to BET?
I felt like it's not real anymore. I felt like we're getting all the artificial artificial stuff right now. You get what I mean? Back then you had these nice sitcoms. You get what I mean? Sitcoms that relates to what's going on in today's world. They're promoting Black people, promoting Black excellence. Just now, I just felt like it's just fake. Like there's nothing unique about it anymore. And kid you not, back in the days, especially being younger, I used to come home. I used to come home to watch 106 in Park. You get what I mean? And where they play all the good music. It was just a vibe. It just a vibe during that time. Just now, everything changes. Like I kid you not, I forgot. I totally forgot that network existed. It still exists.
Right. In my personal opinion, I think if BET would have kind of like took the approach that Netflix did and kind of like either merged on with a company where you can do streaming rather than like waiting for the show to come on cable, that'd be better because not too many people watch cable anymore. If you think about it,
right?
A lot of people just kind of like go on YouTube or go on Netflix or these other streaming services because cable really you just paying to watch one show that you like for real. All other stuff is just like an extra added on bonus. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, JP on fire, man. Because I was literally getting ready to say the same thing. It's two problems. The biggest two problems is the first problem is BT didn't get on with the times. That's the first problem. And what I mean by get on with the times is like, okay, for example, now because of social media, there's no searching. Before when BT was at its prominent, you could search for talent. Now you can't search for talent because guess what? Everybody knows so and so can sing from social media. So you don't have to look for an artist no more. You don't have to discover an artist no more. So there's no reason for, let's say, an up and coming artist to go on 106 in Park and to sing or perform and get their, viewership up when everything is on social media now. So people are discovered on social media. People get deals from they're seeing somebody sing or do covers of songs on social media, and boom, they just get a deal automatically. Or you have a situation where, okay, now just like JP said, nobody watches TV anymore. So BET didn't take the initiative to go into the streaming atmosphere where something that you could watch back later. Even though people have cable TV or they could record, nobody watches cable anymore. The generation of BET are adults now. We're all adults now, and we all work, so we don't have time to just in order to record your TV, you have to turn it on. Press record. Like nobody's doing that. Like nobody's just gonna say, "Oh yeah, let me wait till this time, press record, and then do that." Like everybody wants to offer streaming because it's faster. It's okay. Episode come out today, and you can't watch it today. You could just watch it tomorrow on YouTube or Netflix or Hulu. Like it just like they just didn't get in the right avenue.
What about you, Mello?
Woo! I mean, it's just crazy, man. Both of you guys said some great things, in terms of the downfall of BET. I won't say the downfall, but like what has happened to BET. You get what I mean? Yeah, no downfall, but it's just like it's crazy how like time has changed. Starboy, you provided a great point where like you said they, BT didn't catch on to the new trend going on. You get what I mean? They didn't, collaborate with like different networks, or I say a different program to kind of merge them to pretty much make them still be relevant. You get what I mean?
Now,
And
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, finish.
Oh, I was gonna transition, but if you have more to say on that,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Just want to, just I, go back to the old ways. I'll just definitely say find ways to connect with the audience. Find what the audience like. Like a prime example, if BT and TikTok were to do a merger, that would be
Mhm,
nice. You get what I mean?
mhm.
Trend people use TikTok all the time. There's
Right.
different trends out there. Different information, and I felt like if they were to plug themselves or connect, connect themselves with different apps or networks, it definitely could bring them, bring them back into life. I would
Catapult.
say.
The reason I brought that topic up is because I was kind of wanting to add a topic that was about Black History Month, but I was like wanting it to be kind of like more on the urban side of questions. So I
Mhm.
said, "Man, what happened to BT? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was really going on?"
Mhm.
But now this next topic is one of them where everybody kind of scared, or everybody got a family member that's kind of scared or worried about what might be happening next. You know what I'm saying? To
Right.
like the political climate. And I'll be the first to say, on Circle Vibes, we don't really, touch the political side too much. But this topic is one that affects the Caribbean community. So we would love to elaborate on this. And this question is, ICE coming to scoop people. Like, do you guys how do you guys feel about that? Starting with Mello.
Ooh, how do man mixed emotions, man. Definitely mixed emotions. I feel a type of way in terms like there's certain jobs that I know for a fact as us Americans we wouldn't do, especially in the condition and the price, you know the price that we're doing it for. And you have the immigrants, they're coming here and they're doing the job that we wouldn't do on a daily basis. And for the most part, I mean, not say all the time, but for the most part, I feel like they mean well. They're just trying to make a earnest living to take care of themselves and their family. You know what I mean? And I just felt like, listen, the more that you get rid of them, the less job is going to be out there. There's going to be things that's going to be needed to be done. And guess who was doing it? The immigrants. You get what I mean? While they're sacrificing their body 12 to 14 hours days, and you here taking those jobs away. Now look, now it's going to lead to bigger issues down the line. um I just felt like, you know kind of see the bigger picture of things. you know don't don't just see things because, oh, they're not properly documented, or like, they're not a citizen of the country. Listen, these folks, hey man, I really salute them from the bottom of my heart. The way that they will just come in, do what they have to do. You feel
Mhm.
me? They always work harder, not smarter. You know what I mean? And just a grind for them. And you pretty much taking food out of their mouth for that.
Right. You start, boy.
This is like heartbreaking, man. Like when you think about it, like, okay, so what America is sold upon is that it's like the land of the free. And in terms of like you could come here and like, you know, make a living. That's the quote, like that's how they sell you. Like, okay, come to USA, like this is perfect, like, the American dream, the typical American dream. But it's like heartbreaking because when you think about it, it's like, okay, people move here for better life. You have some parts in the world where, you know, going back puts them in danger in terms of like, okay, there's people, family members, um, daughters, sons being put in a prostitution ring, those type of things. um you have the situation where there are some kids are formed have to join uh gangs and
Gangs.
military and militia early because that's what they're like, put into the situation they're put into. And you just think about ice school and people. I get everyone has a job to do, but at the same time it's sad because it's like when you think about it, it's just like, you're taking people's livelihood away from them. You're putting them back in from even though the situation that they're in was way better than they were before, which is why they left. If their situation was great where they were at, they wouldn't have left. So when you think about it, just taking them from where they were, like they were happy, like getting an education, being out here working, like Melo said, like they're gonna work. Like one thing you can say about just Caribbean people, we have majority of Caribbeans have a good work ethic. So whether it be from Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominicans, Cubans, every type of race, and you're just taking them from where they established a culture, like, and take them back, because there's some people that's been down here as they're still an immigrant, but they've been here for over 15, 20 years.
Right.
And they built a family. And when you think about it, like, okay, for example, hypothetically, if they're an immigrant and they have a child in the US, right? Their child is not an immigrant, their child is a citizen. But the problem, because now they're being deported, you have situations where kids are being put in shelters because mom and dad, or or dad is not there anymore because they were deported. So now you look at the situation that you're putting those children in. They're young kids and they're being forced to put in foster homes and all these type of things. And nobody, no matter what kind of parent background you come from, nobody's gonna love you like your parents or family. So now putting them in situations where it's harder for them to succeed because now their mom or dad has been deported, or maybe the whole family was deported and they were the only one that stayed. It's difficult, man.
And that makes more of a broken home situation, piggybacking on the last conversation, with a two parents household. Because let's say you fall in love with a girl who is an immigrant and she's lacking that parental stability. It kind of plays on her psyche and how she interacts with you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think that's one of those topics where it's just like, but for my response, I would say, like, I hate it because I think about the fact that my grandma had to come here somehow, you know what I'm saying? And she's pretty much broken down to me how she got here. And that don't seem like nothing I'd be interested in trying, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it's things in that water, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the late night, you trying to sneak over, that's not ideal for any of us, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like the older generation, they was definitely built different due to circumstance, So that conversation, we can piggyback on that one and we can take that a whole different direction. But I'm gonna transition due to sake of time. So drum roll. Super Bowl
Sunday.
Everybody I talk to has like mixed emotions on the Super Bowl. Some people are more, we know who is gonna win, but we know who we're rooting for. It's kind of almost like the presidential election when you had like a woman running, you had an African American man running. It's like some people knew who they voted for, but they knew who was gonna win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In that situation. So with the Philadelphia Eagles, we've seen them make it this far, right? And we see the Chiefs here every year routine now. Who do you guys have winning the Super Bowl and why?
Oh, I'm going with the Chiefs, man. The Kansas City Chiefs.
So sticking with the Chiefs.
Until other teams could prove to me that they could beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm going with Mahomes. I just felt like this game, Spags, Spags going to be in his bag. He's definitely going to, mess up that Eagles offense. I'm not sure how exactly, but I felt like, Saquon definitely not rushing over 100 yards tomorrow. I promise you that. And that's my hot take. Saquon is definitely not rushing over 100 yards tomorrow.
Okay.
I felt like, Mahomes gonna, pick on that Eagles defense, man. I was reading reports, I like to read reports heading before the game to see the injury reports, what's going to happen, this, that, the third. Heard all week that I think half of their team, or I say a good portion of their team, are sick right now. They are experienced for the Eagles. Jalen Carter has a flu. He's been sick all week. Their corner, they call him Guantanamo Bay now. He put a signature to it. I heard that he's been sick, so I'll be surprised to see how like that Eagles defense respond tomorrow. But I highly doubt that they will do enough to, stop Mahomes. Mahomes is him, man. He's him. Kelsey's gonna go off tomorrow, and yeah, I just see it being a close one. I promise you that it's definitely gonna be a close one, and the Chiefs will walk out as Super Bowl champs.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I'm curious to know how much of everybody getting sick do you think had to do with like travel plans or like people putting something in somebody's food or because nasty little wicked cold, that's real convenient to have right around Super Bowl time, it's just a little food for thought, but
Eagles still gonna win though.
Okay. So my guy down is taking the Eagle. My heart is telling me I want to take the Eagles, man. I want to
go with the heart tell you, man.
But my heart don't let me down a couple times because being a Dolphins fan, my heart ain't been right most of the time. So it's just like I have trauma. I have trauma because it's like I used to like watching Mayweather fight, not because I like watching him fight, but I like watching the build up, right? And I was also like my guy was Manny Pacquiao. I always loved Manny Pacquiao because his punch output and just how he always would go head first, never retreat. You never see Pacquiao walk back. Everything is always in front of him. He's gonna run through you. So for me, I'm thinking like, is this the Mayweather Pacquiao moment where everybody's waiting for this fight, but now it's a little outdated and it took too long to happen, and now one guy is kind of like declining, and the other one is just steady, taking charge, because it's starting to feel like that Patriots-esque situation. The Dolphins, me and Mello, that AFC, we was finally ready to see a new team take the throne, hoping that it was either the Dolphins or the Jets. Then we got damn Josh Allen.
Yeah,
but
the Buffalo Bills.
Finally got rid of Brady. And now in the AFC, it seems like there's always another guy that pops up and just kind of like spanks everybody on the behind. So I'm curious to know, like, if he wins this one, I can't discredit his greatness. I can't discredit anything. Like, I haven't at this point, but it's just kind of, I still have my doubts and wearies about him because I'm feeling like, in a sense, people always want to deny the fact that the refs don't have much involvement in it. But when I see things happening, like the ball being scooted up a yard or two, that's game altering. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have a angry toddler like Pacheco, you know what I'm saying, running up the middle. It's like those 3 yards matter. He could fall for those 3 yards. So now that adds 3 more possessions, maybe 4, you know what I'm saying, if they're willing to go for it. You know what I'm saying? So that can alter the whole outcome of a game based off of field position. And I've realized that it happens a lot. Like field position is being played with. If you watch the trenches, you will see that the ball placement sometimes is not always accurate. And then they have that yellow line that kind of sways through.
Right.
Like, and I see what the yellow line is. I see what the ball is. And then it just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I just hope that we have a fair, clean game. And my take right now is if I'm piggybacking off of Cam and Saquon does go over 100 yards, the Eagles will win the game.
Oh yeah.
But if that don't happen tomorrow, I got the Chiefs.
Oh no, he going over 100 yards.
So okay. I want to ask you a question about both quarterbacks, about Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. All right, so this is a situation. So I'm gonna ask you. So you either gonna give me one answer or like you gonna give me another answer. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, is he a game changer or is he a game manager?
I will say, depending on the moment or the situation, the moments where he doesn't put the team on his back. You know what I'm saying? When he gets out the pocket, he improvises. He puts the team on his back. When he is just, throwing check downs and things of that sort, that's when I think the talent around him helps elevate, like his safety net, Kelsey, or got the Juju Smiths of the world.
Right.
What's the one fast kid from Texas?
Worthy.
Worthy, and you got Hollywood Brown. So he has all these weapons, but people like to downplay and say that there's no real weapons available for this guy. But I think he has all the assets, as well as Jalen Hurts too. Jalen Hurts, just to me, he struggles reading the field. I don't think he processes the field as fast as a quarterback should. I think
agree.
he like relies on his legs when he's in trouble, which is cool. But look down the field while you run, you know. That's what makes a quarterback. That's what takes a quarterback to another level. Because if I'm out there scrambling, like if you ever watch the way Lamar plays, Lamar, even though he's scrambling to make something happen rather than scrambling to just hurry up and get a first down.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I
When I
think
look
that's
at
a major difference in the two.
when I look at both quarterbacks, right, Mahomes and Hurts, they both are good in their own way. You get what I mean? They both provide some, some type of quality to pretty much get their team to where they're at right now. With Mahomes, is he a game manager or has he a game changer? You want the truth? I think with Mahomes, he's more in the middle, in my opinion. I just feel like he knows how to improvise a lot. Like
Mhm.
improvise, like turn, like in other words, he knows how to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. You get what I mean? Uh,
Mhm.
even though, and I'll be honest with you, and this is just me watching Mahomes for like a very long time. He does not know how to read defense. I'll be honest with you, Mahomes does not know how to read defense. like,
I don't know if I agree with that, but
huh?
I don't know if I agree with him not knowing how to read defense.
I mean, okay, like I said, there's some quarterbacks you could tell like the coverage that they're in. They know exactly, how like the defense is playing them. I think with Mahomes, as soon as the play is snapped and he see where like where like the flow of the defense is going, that's where he makes his proper reads at, in my opinion. And I just feel like he just know how to improvise, man. Like improvise, even though like his receiving core is not all that great. You get what I mean? I just feel like he just used them to their best to their abilities. You get what I mean? You know, in the years before, he would just chug it down deep to Tyreek Hill. You get what I mean? Now I say he does not really have that speedster like that, even though he does have what Brown and Worthy, but I felt like he's more of an intermediate type of guy, like more of an intermediate. Than if the deep shot is there, he'll do it, but he won't do it as much as he used to before. And with Hurts, I just think he's just a game manager, man. He's just a game manager. I just felt like the resources that he has around him, a good defense, a good back. You get what I mean? It's like shit. I don't gotta do much. All I have to do is just make sure I don't lose the game. You get what I
Right.
mean?
So my question to Starboy, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that's one of those situations where like it's just the Alabama quarterbacks, or do you think like Alabama can produce like guys who are
Home
dynamic,
run,
such as Mahomes or
the
Lamar?
Burrows.
Um, I think yeah, they can. Only because you got to look at where the game is going now. The game is going to more athletic quarterbacks that can scramble and throw, like Vic S. Not saying they're Michael Vick or they're Lamar, but just to the where they could like. Because look at where the NFL is going. Majority of most quarterbacks now can scramble outside the pocket.
Yeah,
Like being a prototypical quarterback is like unheard of now. So I think with time, yeah, that can happen. But I just also think that, the way the NFL is going, Mahomes, he's that game changer, man. Game changer for sure. He's just like Brady. That's what it is. He studied Brady, and Brady was a game changer, but Brady was at times he was what he had to be. If he had to be a game manager one game, he was a game manager. If he had to be a game changer, he had to be a game changer. That's what Mahomes is doing. He's not doing anything different. He just realized that, okay, think about it. Before the Bills game, the Chiefs had not scored 30 points all season long.
yep.
All
That's a
season
fact.
long, not one 30-point game. And then boom, against the Bills, they knew, okay, we know we're gonna need more than 29 points. And they just so happened to score 32. It just Mahomes just gonna do whatever he has to. You think about the Texans game. The Texans game, he was more of a game manager. Like he's gonna be whatever he has to be to win, and that's what's good about him. Like that's one thing Mahomes had learned after he lost Tyreek was to learn how to take the check down passes. Everything
Right.
doesn't have to be a big play. If as long as we're moving up in the field, up and down the field, then it's good. But with Jalen Hurts, he's more of a game manager, which is okay. I don't blame Jalen Hurts because he has so many different offensive coordinators so far in his career. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, one thing is I don't want Jalen Hurts to do is don't try to be Patrick Mahomes. And I feel like that's the problem. A lot of quarterbacks go against Mahomes and think they're Patrick Mahomes, and they end up losing themselves the game. You think when the Chiefs played 2 years ago when they played San Francisco, you know, San Francisco's up 10 and then they want to start throwing the ball. Well, what are you doing? Because, you know, you not Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy's not Patrick Mahomes. Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely not.
no, definitely, like, none of these quarterbacks are Mahomes. Like, at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, these quarterbacks have to go inside what are their strengths and weaknesses. And I think tomorrow, Jalen Hurts is going to surprise people tomorrow. I think he's going to surprise people.
Yeah, because one thing I will say is that's a very good point you made. You can't go in there trying to be Patrick Mahomes or match up to Patrick Mahomes because you're not playing Patrick Mahomes. You are playing the defense,
Exactly.
Spagnolia. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. They're playing each other's defense. So to try to match, if this guy just threw for 150, you know what I'm saying, on 2 drives, you know what I'm saying? You can't try to match that energy. You have to take it play by play as if you're just playing against that man's defense. This is not just a sport anymore. It's more so chess because you have game planning against each opposing side, and these are 2 familiar opponents.
Oh yeah.
At this point, y'all have seen each other in the same setting. The weather conditions were different, I will say, but now we're in a dome, so there's no excuses. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's a interesting point. But to kind of wrap things up, guys, what are some things that you guys would want to add on or say before we conclude this episode?
Before we conclude this episode, just want to say to anybody that's feeling any type of way or that's bottling a lot of emotions right now, get a journal. Get a journal. If you don't want to speak to anybody, just get a journal. Write out your thoughts, because the more that you hold things in, the more anger, the more bad emotions will take place. And if you're able to seek help, man, do it. Especially for men, man. Don't ever feel like you're not enough. You are enough. You're not weak if you speak your feelings out. Understand that you're human. You're human just like anybody else in this world. It's okay to break down, but at the same time too, never stay down. Just continue to push forward, no matter what.
I agree. That's some great wise words, my guy. And I think after every segment or every episode we have, we should definitely add a segment called the wise words of Mello. Tradition on, what I'm saying, to our future episodes. And guys, thank you for listening, Soko fam. We do have things in the works and treats to come. You know what I'm saying? We will have some guest speakers coming on just to kind of share their opinion, or even if you want to hear some more like-minded individuals, you know what I'm saying, we'll probably have some of those on too. And just keep commenting and subscribing and liking and loving what we have going on, and we will love you back.
Until next time.
Until next time.